Hello, I'm Dr. Seth E, and we are going to be discussing research ethics, specifically IRB and informed consent. Some of this information comes from How to Critique Journal Articles in the Social Sciences by Harris, 2014. So in everyday life, people have dilemma ethically when they try to unearth information about others. So, for example, someone may ask you, why don't you have any children if you're married and don't have any kids? It's an unsystematic way of trying to gather information about somebody. So you might call this snooping, and then sharing that information after you get an answer could be considered gossiping. Now, in the social sciences, beyond and above ordinary human inquiry, there are ethical practices that researchers are supposed to follow. We're still interested in people's personal lives, and we want to collect data, but there are certain processes that we need to go through to try to be ethical in the way that we collect that data as well as disseminate the data that's collected. So researchers employ specific practices to try to be ethically sound. So the first thing is I'm going to go through this. Researchers partake in ethics training. And so I'm going to show you what city training looks like, and then also show you the NIH website for that type of research. The second thing, they before beginning the research, they think through any types of ethical problems that might emerge based upon the questions they might be asking or the way in they collect their data. And so that training can help formulate more sound ethical research plans. After that plan is set up for their data collection in their entire study, they are going to submit an IRB application, Institutional Review Board. These are, it's a group of people at a university. This would be faculty members as well as staff members in a particular office that would be looking through and approving a ethically sound study, or if they have suggested revisions that would be handled prior to any commencement of data collection and recruiting participants. Fourthly, as part of that IRB application, they would be the researcher would be creating an informed consent. Sometimes it's a hard copy form, sometimes it's done digitally. Sometimes researchers may try to justify why informed consent is not necessary. And so these types of things would be written up in that IRB application for the what they're going to do relating to informing the participants of the purpose of the study, if there's any types of incentives involved, what are the risks, can I quit whenever I want to relating to the study, are there going to be any penalties if I start participating in the study and then stop? So these are all things that are covered in that informed consent, and I'll show you an example of that. Fifth, social scientists make sure that information does not get into the wrong hands. And so in IRB applications, you'll see where if they collect data, how is it stored? Is it under lock and key? If it's digital files, are they password protected files? And when they disseminate the data either at a conference or in a publication, to make sure that the identity of the participants are not revealed. And so that might just be using a pseudonym such as participant 1, or qualitative research might change and make up a fake name when they're reporting the data and using specific quotes from participants. And so here is the sponsored programs and research office at Winthrop University. If you go on your own particular college or university website, if you're a student, and just do a search for IRB or Institutional Review Board or sponsored programs and research, you'll most likely find a site like this. And so Winthrop subscribes to the Collaborative Institutional Training Initiative, CITI, maintained at the University of Miami for provision of required training in the areas of human subjects research. So these are the categories based upon the type of research you would be conducting, would be what is required at this particular institution as the type of CITI training you would need to do. And I'll show you what CITI training is in a second. Care and use of animals in research. Obviously, if you're not doing research with animals, then you would not need to do this type of training. Biosafety, responsible conduct of research for most researchers. So here's another example. This is from Slippery Rock University here, and this is on their page about the IRB, but I'm going down to the section relating to online training. And so you can see here, federal regulations require all participating researchers complete a training course on the protection of human participants in research. The Slippery Rock University IRB subscribes to the CITI online training program to comply with this regulation. And here are the different types of training required based upon the type of research you would be doing. Social and behavioral research course, human subjects biomedical course, students conducting no more than minimal risk research, responsible conduct of research courses, and then the conflict of interest courses. And most institutions typically have a link to the CITI training page directly on their IRB or SPAR office page. So what is CITI training? This is straight from their website. CITI program mission statement. The Collaborative Institutional Training Initiative is dedicated to promoting the public's trust in the research enterprise by providing high-quality, peer-reviewed, web-based educational courses in research, ethics, regulatory oversight, responsible conduct of research, research administration, other topics pertinent to the interests of member organizations and individual learners. And so the majority of institutions of higher education in the United States subscribe to CITI training. So I've gone and logged into my account within the CITI training website. If you have never registered within CITI training and you are taking this training, you would just fill out the registration information, but then you would associate yourself with your college or university. Here, these are a few different of the universities that I've been associated with in the past. University of New Mexico, and here are some of the training that I've done. I was required to do Group 2 Social and Behavioral Research Investigators. Every university is going to have specific requirements that you need to complete before you start conducting research with human subjects at your university. Winthrop University, I was required to do conflicts of interest training with that. And typically the first time you take it in CITI, it's a little bit more extensive training. And then when that expires, whether it's a 2-year or 4-year certificate, you would do an abbreviated training in which they call a refresher course. And so here, this is my training transcripts from my University of New Mexico Group 2 Social and Behavioral Research Investigators. And here are all of the modules that I took within each of those sections. So I had to take federal regulations for protecting research subjects, defining research with human subjects, research with children, research in the public schools, international research, informed consent, privacy and confidentiality, informed consent in the social and behavioral research, assessing risk, research with prisoners, and then I did the refresher course on those items. And afterward, I get a snazzy looking certificate that that the Institutional Review Board or the SPAR office would track. Here is my transcripts associated with Winthrop University, And here they have conflicts of interest, which I took, and within that there was an introduction, overview, investigator responsibilities, and the rules of conflict of interest, and then institutional responsibilities as they affect the investigators. And then again, here is a certificate that when you log in you can access. So the other area I want to draw your attention to is the who would maybe be required to conduct National Institute of Health human subjects online training. And let's see who must comply. Individuals who will be involved in the design or conduct of NIH-funded human subjects research must fulfill the educational requirement. These individuals are considered to be key personnel on NIH awards and contracts that include research involving human subjects. This includes the principal investigator, so that's the main lead investigator, all individuals responsible for the design or conduct of the study, and those individuals identified as key personnel of consortium participants or alternate performance sites. So pretty much if you are involved in NIH funded research and you are interacting with the participants, collecting data, manipulating the data, you would need to do that training. And here is the login information, the registration, and the website for protecting human research participants through the NIH. And so I'm going to show you in the next video some examples of IRB applications as well as informed consent forms.